Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to today's ceremonies, where we will honor a courageous soldier and say farewell to another soldier. Please stand for the arrival of the official party. Please be seated. We welcome you to today's Purple Heart ceremony. Our distinguished guests are Governor Jack Dalrymple and his wife, First Lady Betsy Dalrymple, Mrs. Connie Spritzenatic, the civilian aide to the Secretary of the Army, Mr. Tom Brusegard from Senator Hoven's office, Mr. Randy Richards from Congressman Berg's office. We would also like to acknowledge our military guests. Major General David Spritzenatic, the Adjutant General, Command Sergeant Major Dan Jobe, Command Sergeant Major Guy Bogie. Ladies and gentlemen, I will now read the history of the Purple Heart. The Purple Heart is an American decoration, the oldest military decoration in the world in present use, and the first American award made available to the common soldier. It was initially created as the badge of military merit by one of the world's most famed and best-loved heroes, General George Washington. The actual order included the phrase, "Let it be known that he who wears the military order of the Purple Heart has given of his blood in the defense of his homeland, and shall forever be revered by his fellow countrymen." General Washington is often pictured as a cold, stern soldier, a proud aristocrat. Yet we know he showed sympathy and concern for his troops, and was not too proud to pray humbly on his knees for his beloved country and for the men who served it and him so bravely and loyally. His keen appreciation of the importance of the common soldier in any campaign impelled him to recognize outstanding valor and merit by granting a commission or an advance in rank to deserving individuals. In the summer of 1782, he was ordered by the Continental Congress to cease doing so, as there were no funds to pay the soldiers, much less the officers. By executive order of the President of the United States, the Purple Heart was revived on the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth out of respect to his memory and military achievements by War Department General Orders No. 3, dated 22 February 1932. Miss Elizabeth Will, an Army heraldic specialist in the office of the Quartermaster General, was named to redesign the newly revived medal, which became known as the Purple Heart. The Purple Heart is awarded to members of the Armed Forces of the United States who are wounded by an instrument of war in the hands of the enemy, and posthumously to the next of kin in the name of those who are killed in action or die of wounds received in action. It is specifically a combat decoration. Ladies and gentlemen, the Governor of the great state of North Dakota, Governor Jack Dalrymple.
Thank you, and thank you for including me in this great occasion this morning. It's an honor to be here as Governor and Commander-in-Chief to recognize Staff Sergeant Heith Dokken for his heroic acts and his exemplary service to our state and nation. And I'm glad to have First Lady Betsy with me here today, her first visit ever to Camp Grafton, and wanted to have her have a chance to look around and see what it's like up here. Before I talk about Heith and the Purple Heart, just like to review where we are with the North Dakota National Guard today. About 275 soldiers and airmen are serving overseas, mainly in Kuwait and Kosovo. These include about 160 soldiers with the 188th Engineer Company, Waffle and Oaks, and about 55 soldiers with the 112th Security and Support Aviation Battalion out of Bismarck, both of which mobilized this autumn, and about 50 airmen with the 119th Civil Engineer Squadron, who mobilized to Southwest Asia in December. About 100 soldiers with the 818th Engineer Company, Williston and Hazen, have received an alert for a potential mobilization, as have 4 soldiers with the 1919th Contracting Team. And I like to tell people in audiences everywhere I go. Nationwide, 15 of every 10,000 residents in the country serves in our military. In North Dakota, 65 out of every 10,000 serve, approximately 5 times the national average. And we are so proud of our military and our National Guard especially, and their commitment to our state and nation. Something that Betsy and I had an opportunity to really see firsthand this last year. We always thought we had a great National Guard in North Dakota, but we did not really realize the true caliber of what we have in our state until we experienced the floods last summer. And Betsy and I had an opportunity to make sandbags with National Guardsmen and walk levees with National Guardsmen. And on one particular day, we had approximately 3,000 Guardsmen deployed in North Dakota on the same day, helping people fight floods. We could not have been more proud than we were at that moment. This tremendous force that we have at our disposal. Heith, today you joined an elite list of patriots who throughout our nation's history have made incredible personal sacrifices in the name of freedom and democracy. The Purple Heart has a long, proud history in our nation, dating back to General George Washington and the Revolutionary War. It was originally described as available to all, desired by none. And it speaks to the valor and sacrifice of those who wear this badge of honor. Staff Sergeant Dokken is being honored for wounds he received in Iraq while serving with the 957th Engineer Company, one of the first units to deploy in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom. I saw Heith out in the hall, and I said, Heith, what do you say to a recipient? Do you say congratulations on being wounded? And he said, no, I think it's more like congratulations on making it. And I thought that was like a better way of talking about this. 3 of the unit's soldiers were killed in action during the deployment. Staff Sergeant Kenneth Hendrickson, Sergeant Keith Smithy, and Specialist John Fettig. We will never forget their sacrifice. Our thoughts and prayers continue to be with their loved ones. Staff Sergeant Dokken is a true American hero, risking his life to save others. As a testament to his character, he voluntarily transferred to the 957th in 2003 for their deployment to Iraq. And after completing that mission, he again volunteered to deploy with the 188th ADA to Afghanistan. Throughout his 21 years of military service in both the Navy and the Army, he has deployed to 54 countries. In 2003, when he was wounded by enemy fire, he provided medical attention and saved the lives of his fellow comrades. After being injured himself, he continued to help the wounded members of his unit, refusing to leave anyone behind. Staff Sergeant Dokken represents the men and women of the North Dakota National Guard and all branches of our nation's military who have stepped up to answer this country's call to duty. If there are any others in the room today who are veterans of our military, United States military, I'd like you to also please stand at this time. Yes, sir. Thank you. And we are here indeed to honor everyone who has played in this role, not just one individual. North Dakota is proud of its military heritage. and of all those who have served. Staff Sergeant Dokken is a testament to the character, valor, and honor that embodies our servicemen and women. Thank you to Staff Sergeant Dokken, our veterans, and all of our military members and their families for all they have done to defend our homeland and preserve the very ideals upon which this great nation was built. General George Washington wrote in his order to establish the Purple Heart, "Let it be known that he who wears the military order of the Purple Heart has given of his blood in the defense of his homeland and shall forever be revered by his fellow countrymen." Staff Sergeant Dokken and all of our military members, past and present, will forever be revered by their fellow countrymen and a grateful nation. In closing, I'd like to read the Soldier's Creed that summarizes Staff Sergeant Dokken's service as well as all members of our nation's armed forces. The Soldier's Creed. I am an American soldier. I am a warrior and a member of a team. I've served the people of the United States and lived the Army values. I will always place the mission first. I will never accept defeat. I will never quit. I will never leave a fallen comrade. I am disciplined, physically and mentally tough, trained and proficient in my warrior tasks and drills. I always maintain my arms, my equipment, and myself. I am an expert and I am a professional. I stand ready to deploy, engage, and destroy the enemies of the United States of America in close combat. I am a guardian of freedom and the American way of life. I am an American soldier. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Adjutant General for the North Dakota National Guard, Major General David Spritzenat.
Thank you, Victor, and good morning, everyone. How are we doing today? Whoa. Happy St. Patrick's Day to you. I didn't realize how many Irish we had in our North Dakota National Guard and our military until I saw all of the green today, so good job. Governor, First Lady, Madam Casa, now, I do need to explain this. The civilian aide to the Secretary of Army happens to be my wife. I know we have a lot of people from out of state here. Happens to be my wife. The other thing that you need to know is that officially she is a 3-star rank as the CASA, civilian aide to the Secretary of Army. So nothing's changed at home. But today is truly it's a great honor for me to be here. A great honor as we have the ceremony today to present the Purple Heart to Staff Sergeant Heith Dokken. And whenever we have the opportunity to recognize what our soldiers have done in service and sacrifice to the country, it truly means a lot to me. As the governor said, the Purple Heart isn't a recognition that any of us as soldiers ever want. It's the last thing we want. But the fact is that our soldiers put their lives on the line day in and day out for this country. And while we continue to remain a nation at war, we'll continue to have wounds, injuries that we need to recognize so that people know just how much each individual soldier, and in this case the soldier that's a recipient of the Purple Heart, has given for their country. We talk about Sergeant Dokken and his service to his nation. As the governor mentioned, he initially joined more than 20 years ago. He initially joined the Navy, served in the Navy for 4 years, and then came off active duty and came back to North Dakota and joined the North Dakota National Guard. First, he served as the first of the 188th Air Defense Artillery Battalion, and then in 2003 he volunteered to go to Iraq with the 957. And then after he came back home, he once again transferred back to the first of the 188th, and in 2006 deployed overseas to Afghanistan. Throughout his 20 plus years of service, he has been on more than 20 deployments somewhere in the world, and as was pointed out, to 54 different countries. So obviously during Sergeant Dokken's service, he has given a lot for his country, and he's been recognized with the Bronze Star, with the V for Valor, 2 Army Commendation Medals, 3 Army Achievement Medals, and of course the Combat Action Badge. So he truly has served his country well. It was on July 1st, 2003, excuse me, that Sergeant Dokken and fellow soldiers were on a security patrol on the Euphrates River near Ramadi. And it was that day that first attack on on North Dakota National Guard members in the Operation Iraqi Freedom and Global War on Terror took place. It was the first day that any of our soldiers were injured. In addition to Sergeant Dokken that day, John Siegel was also wounded. And John continues to serve as a pilot in the North Dakota National Guard with our Black Hawk helicopter unit. And the 957 continued to serve in country for almost a year. And as was pointed out, sadly, 3 of those soldiers made the ultimate sacrifice for their country. And we will never forget those soldiers. We'll never forget Specialist Fettig, Sergeant Hendrickson, and Sergeant Smeddy. And we'll never forget the families as well, because as we all know, as soldiers, the families serve equally with us in whatever mission we are asked to do and we carry out for our country. The time span has been 9 years since the incident occurred, and it's unfortunate that Sergeant Dokken wasn't recognized earlier for the wounds he received and awarded the Purple Heart. But we all in uniform know how the Army works sometimes, how paperwork gets lost, how things slip by the wayside. But what's most important is that we are here today, even though it's nearly 9 years later, recognizing the sacrifice of Sergeant Dokken on that July 1st day in 2003. It's Sergeant Dokken, I thank you for your service and sacrifice, and I appreciate the fact that you continue to serve here at the RTI, the 164th Regional Training Institute. Appreciate that you still serve the state and nation, and I hope that you'll continue to do that for quite some time. The thing we must all remember, we continue to be a nation at war. We continue to have soldiers and airmen from the North Dakota National Guard deployed overseas. And I know to all of the soldiers to the right of me, you all come from different parts of the country, different states, and I know your states have National Guard members deployed overseas as well. And we must never forget the service and sacrifice of all of our soldiers, all of our airmen, all of our families that are part of the National Guard family. And Sergeant Dokken, God bless you and your family. God bless each of you, and may God always bless America. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tom Brusegard from Senator Hoeven's office.
Before I present the greetings of Senator Hoeven, kind of a special day for me. I am unique among the people in this room that I have known Staff Sergeant Dokken longer than anybody. Heath and I went to school together at Midway High School. We were the twin towers on the low blocks that struck fear in the other basketball players in District 9. Our record's what, 320, I think? But until I sat here and listened to the words of President Washington about Heath being revered in the memories of his countrymen, it's a special day for me. From the desk of Senator John Hoeven, dear Staff Sergeant Dokken, on behalf of the people of North Dakota, I'm honored to join your colleagues in commending you for being awarded the Purple Heart for your many sacrifices while serving in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom. This medal serves as a symbol of our country's gratitude for your dedicated service to the people of our nation. Although the medal cannot fully recognize your honorable and distinguished service to the state and country, Please know that our nation is grateful to you and that we realize that the work of individuals like you enable our country to continue to enjoy the blessings of liberty and freedom. With appreciation for your exemplary military service, we pray that God may continue to bless you and your family. Sincerely, John Hogan, United States Senator.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Randy Richards will be reading a letter from Congressman Byrd.
I just want to start by thanking the Guard for allowing me to be a part of this day. It's always very humbling to be in a room full of heroes, and I do appreciate all of your service. Sgt Dokken, before I read this letter from Congressman Byrd, on behalf of the entire Byrd staff and our families, thank you for your service. Just can't say enough. From Congressman Rick Byrd, Staff Sergeant Heith Dokken, I regret that I am unable to be with you today as we honor you with the Purple Heart. President Lincoln, who was as close to soldiers as any president could be, living with him in the White House, said in his second inaugural address that we need to care for those who have borne the battle. Part of that care is to acknowledge and honor them. Staff Sergeant Dokken, you are one of those North Dakotans who has borne this battle. Words cannot begin to approach the level of gratitude that I have for the service and sacrifice that you have given to this state and nation. We enjoy enormous gifts of liberty and freedom in our country, and these gifts have been paid for by all those serving and all those who have served in our military. It is often said that freedom isn't free, but no one understands the cost more than those who have been wounded and their families, and the families of those who gave their life in defense of this country. I want to publicly acknowledge, thank, and honor you as you receive the Purple Heart today. Regards, Rick Byrd, Member of Congress. Thank you.
Major General Spritzenatic and Governor Dalrymple, would you please stand at the center of the stage? Our Purple Heart recipient is Staff Sergeant Heith M. Dokken. Would Staff Sergeant Dokken please come to the stage and present yourself to the Adjutant General?
Yes, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is tradition to stand during the reading of orders. We ask that you please rise in respect to the award recipient. Staff Sergeant Dokken was assigned to the 957th Engineer Company, Multi-Role Bridge Company, serving as a medic in Iraq. He served with his unit overseas from 25 April 2003 to 13 April 2004. Attention to order. By order of the President of the United States of America, the Purple Heart, established by General George Washington, is awarded to Staff Sergeant Heith M. Dokken for wounds received in action on 1 July 2003, given under my hand in the city of Washington this 30th day of September 2011, signed John M. McHugh, Secretary of the Army. This is the first award of the Purple Heart for Staff Sergeant Dokken.
Thank you.
Staff Sergeant Dokken will now make remarks.
Well, thank you everybody for coming. I appreciate it. Supporting me on this, especially the people that come all the way from Bismarck is a testament to the leadership of our state. I see 4 or 5 commanders I used to have. I see Sergeant Major Joe was Sergeant Major of the battalion. I mean, a whole bunch of people came here for that, so thank you. And the staffs as well. I also want to say one thing to John Haynes. Go Sioux.